Hi everyone. Today we'll be taking a very quick look at how we can integrate Jira product discovery issues into GitHub issues. So for this demonstration, I've got a Jira Cloud instance open out here, and I've got a product discovery project called Rover Product. And we'll create ideas out here, and then we'll integrate them into a GitHub repo. So for that, I've got a GitHub repository also created and open. So we'll create issues out here from the Jira side. Now, we'll be using Exalate to do this. Now, Exalate is an app which just installs from the Atlassian Marketplace. And I'll get you started with how you will end up creating a connection and then syncing the issues between the two systems. So in order to create a connection, all I need is the base URL of my GitHub org. So I'll just copy this. Okay, so I'll initiate the connection. We'll plug the URL in. And this would give me a choice of two different connection modes, the basic and the script. So we'll go with the scripted version. I can just provide some user-friendly names to my two instances. I'm just going to call them Jira and GitHub. The next screen asks me to nominate a Jira project where all the incoming issues would land into. Now, we have to choose one project from the UI, but you can make this a dynamic selection later on if you need to. So I selected the Rover product, which was the discovery product. Right, so this is the Jira side has initiated a connection towards GitHub. It generates an invitation code, which you can copy and just pass on to the admin on the other side, or if you're the admin yourself, you can come into the GitHub site for Exalate, accept the invitation. And you'll have a similar setting as you did on the Jira side, whereby on this side, you'll have to choose the target repo, basically, where you want to land those issues. And the same logic applies. You choose one on the UI, but later on, you can make this a dynamic selection if you want. And that should be it. So we're not going to be configuring anything so far, but let's get started with it, at least not on the GitHub side. So on the Jira side, I do want to configure some automation, which would allow me to send issues automatically. So I go into my connection, hit edit, and we'll create a trigger which would allow for issues to automatically be sent over from the Jira side to the GitHub side. Now, my trigger can be based on any valid JQL syntax. Any valid JQL query would work out here, but I've just kept it dead simple. Project equals RP should do the job. Now, let's create an idea out here. And actually, just the mere act of just creating the idea should be enough for Exalate to trigger the sync, because it matches the criteria that it's contained within the project RP. And this should just send out this issue towards the GitHub org that we're interested in. So let's come into issues and see what's going on. Right, so that's my test idea one, which has already arrived. Now, these two issues are totally in sync. So we saw that there was no description provided. So let's just fix that. And now, because the two issues are under sync, any changes I made out here should automatically sync over to the GitHub issue. So we'll shortly see the description field arriving. Right, there we go. And obviously we can correct the spelling from here if we want, or I'll just add a comment. Now this will work bidirectionally. So any comments or any changes on either end should reflect back to the source system. Now this is all that works out of the box. So let's just wait for the comment to arrive. Apologies, my connection is being a bit slow. But yeah, the comment arrived. And this should be all bidirectional, so any updates I make from the Jira end should automatically reflect back on the other side. Let me very quickly show you a bit of configuration and like just to give you ideas about what is possible. So that's the comment that we made from the Jira side. Right, so let's pick an example to customize this. So let's say that we change the status out here to delivery, and we would like that to reflect as a closed, effectively it would close the ticket on the GitHub side. That's the configuration that we want to do. So how Exalate basically works is through a set of two scripts, the outgoing and the incoming. Now, they're pretty self-explanatory, but the outgoing is going to send the transaction out. So the status is already contained within the outgoing script. Now, on the GitHub side, on the incoming part, we will need to do a bit of configuration whereby we will program the status in there. So I'm just going to copy this template out, and I think it was called delivery, and we'll change it to closed. I'm just going to double check that. Yes, it's called delivery. So what I'm trying to say here is that if the remote status, the Jira status is delivery, I want to close my GitHub issue. And obviously you can have a series of such mappings. We'll make the change, we'll publish it, and we'll quickly test it. So now if I change my Jira ticket to delivery, that sends a transaction over to the GitHub side. But because GitHub does have a mapping for that, I would expect it to close the GitHub issue. Right, there we go. So that's a little bit about how you can easily integrate Jira product discovery issues with some GitHub issues. Hope it helps. Thank you.